Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today it's going to be Light versus Jaehoon here on Fighting Spirit. Top left-hand corner, it is the blue Terran player. It is a Light. And in the bottom right, it is Jaehoon. Alright, so an excellent PvT featuring two epic level players for your Patreon cast this week. If you're watching this the week of February the 25th, thank you very much for subscribing to me at patreon.com/FalconPaladin for at least $1 a month. And if you're watching this in the month of March, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you want 5 Brood War casts per week. Alright, and 1440p quality as well. Alright, so PvT here on Fighting Spirit. Name a more epic combination. Yeah? I know some people are kind of tired of Fighting Spirit. They removed it from the map pool recently, but this is a 2020 match. So Fighting Spirit was very much in the map pool rotation. When they removed Fighting Spirit from the ladder pool, Artosis was like, hey, honey, he's calling to his wife. They removed Fighting Spirit from the map pool. He was so excited about it. It's just well balanced and everybody likes it. Nobody vetoes it, but I think it was time to go. Anyway, probe scouting here. Gateway coming up in the main base. Barracks coming up in the main base. Nothing too crazy going on. Not scouting cross position. Here is this probe. That's going to be just fine. You're going to find him in the second place that you'll look. Anything crazy going on down here? Not really, I don't think. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the channel. We're trying to reach 60,000 subs here. Honestly, getting 100,000 subs would be... It would just make me the happiest man alive. I've loved StarCraft since I was but a lad back in 1998. I started casting it about 5 years ago here on the channel. It got so big and was so popular with you guys that I actually removed the StarCraft 2 content for it. So... If you're here and you're looking for StarCraft 2, I have another channel. Ask me about it, and I'll link you to it directly. That's where the StarCraft 2 lives right now. But the Brood War is here. It is a Brood War channel now, and forever will be, I believe. I hope you're appreciating that, because I'm going to be here no matter what. Anything crazy? Nah. Quick factory before expansion, and it is a cyber core before expansion from Jaehoon as well. So, I don't know, a little bit of probe harass, not accomplishing a lot. Just bring one SCV off the line and deal with it, and that's not going to be a big deal. Zealot marching, though. Zealot marching across the map with another Zealot on the way. What's this one doing? Trying to take another path so it doesn't get scouted? Or maybe checking for proxies. This is a really roundabout path, but we'll get there eventually, I think. So 2 Marines are going to have to just micro their entire faces off right now to try to deal with the Zealot. It's going to take a lot of shots from the Marines to take this guy down. That said, with the SCVs buffering, not super hard. Like, this is Light we're talking about. This is one of the better Terran players on Earth, if not the best Terran player on Earth right now. That could be last, I suppose. Who do you think it is? Ample's playing exceptionally well as a Terran player for sure. You tell me, who do you think the best Terran player on Earth is right now in your professional StarCraft watching opinion? Yeah, the Vulture comes out, the Zealot's dead. This Zealot really probably shouldn't even go in there. Dragoon doesn't care about the Zealot. We'll try to get some pressure up. Singularity charge is about 40-50% complete, and let the pressure arrive. This is a little bit dicey stuff right now, but 4 Marines. That's more Marines than I thought we had. So 4 Marines out. Zealot trying. Nope, gets taken down. That means the Dragoon's in a lot of trouble. Is forced to flee. Might try to pick off an SCV there, but that's not going to happen. So Light defending exceptionally well. There's another Dragoon on the way, yes, but the bunker's going to be finished, and the Marines are in, and there's still some time before Singularity Charge is up, so the pressure's not quite real yet. Are we still not expanding, Jaehoon? Apparently not. This guy might... Yeah, this guy's going for it, though. This probe on the way home is just going to toss down a Nexus. Like you on the way home from work would maybe pick up something, you know, to eat from the store. That's what that probe is doing, is on the way home, warping a Nexus in from Ire. If you're into that sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, Ire, according to Brood War lore, at least, at the end of Brood War, Ire's done, right? So, I don't know. From Chakoris, I guess. That's where the warping is now. The Dark Templar home world that the Protoss had to find refuge in. Both players expanding about the same time. We've talked about this. The recipe for beating a Terran player as a Protoss is as follows: expanding faster than the Terran player does, killing their tanks at the expense of your own units, which you can afford to do because you're expanding faster than the Terran does. Okay, those are the two most important factors here. If you do those things, you're going to be fine. If you let the Terrans sit back and get up 30, 35, 40 tanks, you're going to have a really hard time dealing with it unless you go for the carriers, in which case you don't care about the tanks. That is an option to Jaehoon today. So just a little bit of pressure moving out. See, this gets a little bit dangerous for light. If you're running around with your tanks, 1, 2 at a time, look at this third base timing. Oh, no. You can't. Look at this pressure, though. He's like, I'm going to pressure the Protoss, so he can't move out and do anything about me taking a quick third. I don't know. This is all of a sudden 5 Dragoons with range. They are just sniping you down with sniper fire. Get out of here. Are they? We're going to do the fancy micro. He's trying to do the fancy micro with this. He knows there's a spider mine here because he saw it burrow. He's also getting an observatory pretty quickly. So he's going to be able to move out. He decides not to try to do the fancy micro with the spider mines. That's fine. This third base timing from Light is insane, though. And see, now we see the mind games. Light knows what it takes to beat a Terran player as Protoss. He's very good at playing Protoss, actually. If you have not seen the Light versus Flash game where Light plays Protoss against Flash's Terran, by golly, please go back and look at it, because it is one of the more impressive PvTs I've ever seen in my entire life. I went so nuts for that game. Ask me about it. I'll put a link to it in the description. I'll respond directly to your comment as well, because again, I read every comment anyone ever makes on any of my videos, and I'm sure some of you are tired of hearing that constantly from me, but enough people are like, no, that's not true. It's true. You go back to my oldest cast on my channel and leave a comment, I'll see it, because of the way YouTube has it set up. It's easy to see. Okay, that's it. End of story. Meanwhile, we're going to start clearing out some of these spider mines. If you don't clear them out, they just turn into a heap of trouble. That's what the farmers always say about weeds, right? If you let the weeds, let a couple of them just kind of keep growing, soon you're going to have a forest of weeds. They're going to be choking out your crops, and then you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I know what it's like to be a farmer. It's not true, but I did weed my parents' garden a lot growing up as children. That was the work that we did. Well, I guess doing dishes was another big one that we did all the time, and then weeding in the backyard. My least favorite thing of all time to do. Took a hit, but hey, you're alive. It takes 2 spider mines to take me down. I'm tough. Look at this third base timing. Is so late. It is so late. I think the observer snuck up here and saw, too. He knows Light's on 3 bases. Okay, based on the opening 8 minutes of this match, I think Light might just win this game. Unless there could be some punishing here. Unless Jaehoon can get up a giant Stalker Zealot army and crush this base, which, there's a wall here. There's tanks on the high ground. That's really hard to break if you're a Protoss player. Arbiter coming in off of 2.5 bases. Fairly standard stuff, but maybe we're going to try to recall on top of these tanks and wipe them out that way. But again, that's why there's a turret, to make sure that's harder to do. And to keep observers out of there, obviously. Obviously. There's nothing special Light's doing here other than getting that fast third base. He's getting additional factories up. He's pumping tanks. He's killing his own bunker because he doesn't need it anymore, and it messes with his defensive plans, I guess. Sure. That's what's happening. Why not? More gateways on the way here from the Protoss, too. And who gets their 4th base up first? I feel like we're kind of trying to do this here for Jaehoon. It's catch-up at this point. It's saying, I can't be on equal bases versus the Terran. I'll die. Also, I don't like that he's sitting here with these Dragoons. I'd like them to be walking around. Look, these are not even sieged up. You could wander in here, pick up a tank, and get out before anybody saw what was going on. Here we go. Tanks marching across the map. Additional observers here. At the very least, you can probably kill this missile turret. Just getting some damage done early is nice. It's always nice. Stasis on the way. Arbiters on the way. 4 zealots at a time being produced out of the multiple gates that we've got off the 3 bases. Observer pulls back with all of 2 HP and does get sniped. What? Did they scan? They must have scanned to see that. That sucks. But yeah, 7 vultures at a time. You have to balance your vulture production based on how many zealots there are. If there's a ton of zealots and all you have are tanks, you're gonna die. And if all you have are 5 vultures, you're gonna die. You need a lot of vultures to handle a lot of zealots. If it's dragoon heavy, tanks are gonna be just fine. Vultures for buffering, but not really for killing them, just preventing the dragoons from getting in close enough to cause problems there for the tanks, which are, again, the meat of the army. Science facility on Zive here from Light. Still not 4th base. I'm just worried about this. This one vulture's like, hey, I see you're trying to maybe set up for a 4th over here. What if I crash that party? And Dragoon says, no. Get out of here. I do want to expand eventually, but just being on 3 bases this long, I don't like it. I really don't. A lot of Protoss that I'll cast will have already expanded here and here by now, and for him just to barely be starting his 4th base is really, really bad. Light, I'd love for him to have a 4th base, but he seems more content to sit on 3 bases and know that he's ahead economically. Just kind of continue to approach that the way that he is. Recall getting researched because obviously Recall's getting researched. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Are we going to try to sneak some pretty fast expands without much defense here? Maybe. Vultures running around as they do, throwing down their spider mines. Jaehoon has done an excellent job of clearing spider mines, though. I mean, it's not that Light has really paid a ton of attention to this today. He's done, I would say, the bare minimum in spider mine planting, which is fine. EMP in production from Light, obviously. Not much to irradiate, usually, in a Protoss army. If they're starting to use High Templar, then they can be irradiate targets, but even then, I think Terran would rather just EMP them most of the time. Charon boosters on the way, not so much because we're anticipating a carrier transition, because that's not what we're getting. But because Charon boosters help against arbiters and shuttles, and killing those things fast is really, really nice. If you don't have any anti-air with your army at all, you get Zealot Bomb to death. So definitely going for that is nice. Top right base coming in about the same time the 4th base finishes. So I like this. I like this. And then honestly, expand here. Like, I don't know that it's much harder to hold this than it is to hold this at this point in time. Pincer movement perhaps being engaged. Might poke down to the south and then maybe try to kill this 3rd base with recall. I mean, I do see a group here. Arbiter being used for the cloaking purposes. That's what's nice about Arbiters, is they're so multi-purpose. Stasis is good. The cloak is good. The recall is good. Everything Arbiters are capable of is pretty good. Their damage output sucks. 10 damage per shot and a really slow fire rate is not great. But at least they have some, some offensive firepower. Most casters in the game do not. Queens don't. Defilers don't. High Templar don't. Science Vessels don't. I mean, Ghosts do. So basically, Ghosts and Arbiters are the same thing. And Light's decided to move out. So he's just kind of posturing down this way. He's just setting up to expand to the left side. I don't know if he's going to try to move out, but he does have a good, scary number of tanks. That's for sure. Yeah, this is no. The army is not interested in engaging. A lot of zealots down here, though. We do have +1 attack for the gateway units. The mech is sitting on 1-1, so advantage to Light on that one. And maybe expanding down here, too, would not be too bad. That's the thing about fighting Spirit. If you can kind of cover... There's just a little concave down this way. If you can cover it, you're going to have a good time. Clearing out spider mines. It's not much, but it's honest work, as I believe is what they will say. Light pushing, though. Pushing this top side. I don't know if there's enough from Jaehoon to really stop it. But without the tanks, again, the Vultures trade pretty poorly. as we've seen time and time and time again. Tanks siege up, good stasis gets tossed down, and the Protoss moves back. Very, very carefully. I'm liking it. He's basically saying, I don't want you anywhere near my third base. How about? And at the same time, if I can threaten your fourth base, I'm down with that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure the Jaehoon can let Light do this. I don't know if he can break it either is the problem. Defensive Matrix on one of the tanks, which is nice. Zealots rolling through. They do take out a bunch of tanks. The Vultures are staying alive. You can hear the Zealot death sounds pretty heavily. But there's still a bunch of tanks remaining, and not many Vultures here either. Great stasis. The Zealot count was just enough to just wipe out a ton of these tanks. Beautifully done. Zealot bombing from the ground is a problem here. Science Vessel does manage to escape. Tank count reduced excellently there by Jaehoon, and the tank count is sitting here at 8. It was, you know, it was at least 18, probably 20, maybe 25. A lot of tanks died there. Reinforcing tanks had to come in to make up for that. Problem is, you didn't really shove the Terran off of this position where he can attack the fourth base. So, Jaehoon in a bit of trouble. He's up 173 to 141 supply, which is great, but +2 attack is now done for the Terran. And, okay, +2, +1 is done now for the Protoss. So upgrades are keeping up there, which is nice. Observers continuing to cruise around. I don't know if this is enough an army to really threaten the fourth base. What's interesting is usually Protoss will give up their main and just make their home away from home be this fourth, right, in the corner, because at least there's resources up there, and you're going to mine out of your main fairly soon. So if it comes down to it, they'd rather keep this. So I'm wondering, what is this? Okay, we're just escorting an SCV transfer to the bottom left base that Light took. That's fine. And a couple of Vultures just trying to make sure there is stuff up here, right? I'm sure he has scanned up here, so he knows what's going on, but you never know. Observer here. I'm trying to keep an eye out for Arbiters for recalls. We've not seen any of those yet, I don't believe. Clearing out the spider mines at the front. Hey, if your army is not going to defend your spider mine field, then it's not going to last too long, is what Jaehoon seems to be saying. And then posturing here at the third. Yeah, this is classic stuff. Posturing the tanks at the low ground. So the third base is taking direct tank fire up from +2 sieged tanks. Not great at all. Jaehoon is forced to respond, coming down with his Dragoons. Might it be worth it just to recall some Zealots on top of this? I don't know if you're marching through this entire thing. Too many tanks! Too many tanks! Back out. Yeah, I think it has to be Arbiters. But the Nexus is already dead, which is just brutal. The Arbiters are moving up, though, and we're going. We are going for it, ladies and gentlemen. Arbis does get the stasis from the south. The top Arbiters are dead. Is there enough Protoss here? This is honestly some pretty beautiful stasis. A lot of the tanks got knocked out of combat here. Killing the third base, I think, was probably the primary goal of Light, and he accomplished it. So I don't even know what we're worried about. If you're Protoss, you're up 135 to 131. I mean, you did lose your third. You're technically on 4 bases right now, but guess what? So is Light. Big picture, this is looking bad. This is looking extremely bad for the Protoss. I don't know what a Dragoon drop is going to do, especially. I mean, there's Marines here. The Marines from the start of the game are here. How many shots does it take a +2 Dragoon to kill an SCV? It's like 5? 4? 5. It's 5 if you have +2 attack. He's not even replanting this third. That is not good. Light is smashing. Kicking butt, taking names here. And I think it just started out poorly for Jay. Oh, Jaehoon, look at this tank. This tank's like, can I reach any of these juicy, delicious probes? Not convinced that we can. All right, top side coming in a bit unexpectedly. Jumping on top of this is Jaehoon. Light sieging up, sees the Dragoons, gonna crush them into dust. Zealots coming from the backside, though. The stasis helping immensely as well. This is really, really good stasis play today. out of Jaehoon, just consistently knocking out, you know, half of the tanks, it feels like. And look at that. A lot of Dragoons died up north, but the southern reinforcements were enough to clear it out. This is turning into a pretty fantastic TVP. 169 to 145 total supply. Still can't retake this base because there's a tank sitting here that nobody seems to be interested in killing. Jaehoon, buddy, wander down this way and kill this siege tank. Has he tried to re-expand here and the tanks just one-shot it back to death and he doesn't realize it? I wonder if he doesn't. Man, not realizing it would be rough. Okay, emergency. Fourth base under attack. Gonna, oh, nice EMP though. EMP, the Arbiter. No stasis available, no recall available. Going up that ramp is probably death. The SCVs get pulled to try to defend it anyway. Okay, this tank though is honestly causing me grief. I don't even main Protoss, and this is bothering me. Come kill the siege tank. Zealots wandering. Oh, this Vulture's not microing. You could have killed the Vulture and then had all the time in the... Okay, you're going to kill it anyway. Maybe. Nope, see now it's being microed. No, go back. Go back! Zealots, no! Jaehoon is not microing particularly well. The Zealots had some free time inside the SCV line and didn't take it. Didn't take it. Light getting pushed back. No, Jaehoon could win this game. He's up 195 to 166 supply. He's getting more and more tank kills all the time. The Zealot attack in the bottom left was kind of a disaster, but he was worried about this stuff up here. And killing tanks is more important than killing SCVs, I think, at this stage of the game. So we're down. Or the Falcon Paladin will support this concept for sure. If you're hearing any squeaking, I'm sorry. My cat keeps wanting to be let in and out of this room, as cats do, you know. This is probably the warmest room in the house. It's just an office with the video card on the PC running. But here we go. Another great stasis. Jumping on top of it again is the Protoss army. You know what? Jaehoon might just be kicking butt and taking names right now. He's doing what he needs to do. He's trading out army in exchange for tanks. The tank count has not been scary for some time, it feels like. Jaehoon goes crushing through. Is he going to win this game without carriers? I feel like it's doable. It just feels difficult on this channel. Like, this is amazing, amazing stuff. The mass repair on the bunker is actually not enough to keep it alive. That sucks. The Dragoons have 3-1-2 upgrades. The tanks are sitting here at 3-3 with the Vultures, as we all know. Is this tank gone? Yes, this Dragoon killed this tank. All right, and it's just scraps. It's scraps left here for Jaehoon. He's not going to kill anything else. Maybe a couple more SCVs, which would be nice, but it's still 70 to 64 workers in favor of the Terran. Yeah, man, this has been an excellent 22-minute game already, but check this out. Jaehoon expanding there, re-expanding to his third. He's got a nice army to come wreck whatever's going on here in the bottom left. It's 4 tanks. You want to try to recall on top of it. This is really nice missile turret setup. But if you come around this way, this is just a lot of Zealots. Okay, it's a lot of Zealots. That's why the SCVs got pulled. They're pretty good meat shields against these Zealots. Spider Mine kills some SCVs, though. Oh, no. Look at the SCVs sacrificing their little lives so the tanks can live. Tanks got on top, or Zealots got on top of the tanks anyway. But nice job. Unsieging, repairing, none of the tanks die. Really well played by Light. Excellent, excellent work. So still, 1 base up on the Terran, 154 to 158 supply. Extremely, extremely close right now. Holy crap. All right, Jaehoon moving out. Does he have his 3-3? He's got his 3-3. He's got +1 shields. He's making 14 Zealots at a time. If he can wipe out this bottom left section, this bottom left base of Lights, I think he can win this game. Basically can starve out this third. It's been up for a while. The 4th base being the only source of income for the Terran would be amazing for Jaehoon. What's funny, I just realized Jaehoon's most known for his storms. He hasn't done any yet today. Mostly storms versus Zerg, though. It's my fault for picking a Jaehoon game where he's playing against a Terran. But it's Light, man. Who clicked on this for Light? Let me know. Who clicked on this for Jaehoon? Let me know in the comments as well. Terran music in full swing. That's right. Ooh, trying to expand down here is Light. Can he hold this? Jaehoon's entire army is here, but they swing north abruptly and attack into an entrenched tank line. I don't know if I support that entirely. The Arbiter dies, but got a stasis on 2 tanks, which somehow misses these vultures. I guess they weren't there initially. And, ooh, Jaehoon pulling back a little bit. SCV transfer through Death Town. Goodbye, SCV. Some of you are going to be killed, that's for sure. Zealots getting on top of these tanks, though. But the vultures are supporting too much. The vultures are too much. Another round of Zealots coming in. They decide... They almost pulled back, but they decided to go for it. YOLO, say the Zealots. Catching some friendly tank fire there. Again, reducing the tank count so it's never terrifying. What is it now? 6. 6 siege tanks. 4 more there, so we have 10 tanks. It's not 30. We're feeling okay. But splitting the map in half against the Terran, not ideal. Light has managed to do that. He's managed to take every base along the left side of Fighting Spirit against a Protoss, which is not easy to pull off. That said, he's only ever killed 1 base. However, he seems to be out for blood. This is a pretty aggressive position right now. He's going to try to maybe set up some tanks on this ramp again and kill the 3rd base for the 2nd time, which seems like it'd be pretty easy, and Jaehoon, I'm not sure how interested he is in dealing with that. But it is 180 to 182 supply. I don't know. It looked good for Jaehoon, but Light's macro has been nuts. It's been really, really good. This is a great PvT. I know I've said that a lot, but it is seriously, this is as good as PvT is going to get for you in the year 2020, which is when this was played. Wow. Spider-Mine ignored, unloved. Wait. Not ignored. It got some attention, and then it died. Hey, look! Tanks on the low ground, going after the Nexus again. Stasis, all of them. Wait, all of them? Yeah, all of them. That one's stasis? I can't tell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is. Stasis thing's a little off-center. Sometimes that happens. Stasis centering is a little bit wonky. Sometimes in Brood War, it's an old game. Alright, trying to get in here. Again, some of these tanks are unsieged, but the sounds of Zealots dying is a problem for Jaehoon. Reinforcing Zealots coming in from the backside. From the top side, Zealots reinforcing too. Oh, it's the old Zealot Dragoon Zealot sandwich. And Light just has to get out of there. He's down 10 supply. The tanks are going to come out of stasis pretty soon, so I think that's the priority. Yeah, come down, kill these tanks as they're coming out of stasis, and then come back up and kill these tanks as they're coming out of stasis. Excellent. Excellent job by Jaehoon. This is so much harder to do than to, like, commentate and recognize what needs to be done. But that's the thing. Like, some people say, Falcon, how good are you at Brood War? Because you seem to understand the game really well to some extent. And I'm like, yeah, no. Nope. Doing it is so much harder than commentating it. Hey, look who's back with more tanks all of a sudden. Dude, let's back up to 186 supply. He's just producing 5 tanks and 7 vultures at a time. And this 3rd base is toast. There's your dead 3rd base. This is tight. I don't know, man. I've been going back and forth on this all game, and I feel like right now, Light has it. He's just... You can kill my tanks, he says. I'm still going to have 20 of them when all is said and done. Maybe you will prevent me from getting up to 30 or 35, but I can do a lot of work with 20. Which I think is what he's rolling with right now. Maybe 17 or so. Something like that. Losing this space sucks. This income was really important to Jaehoon. Coming up, if this top right can't be dislodged, that's your GG. Here we go. Jaehoon coming up. Arbiter wiped out again by the vultures in the composition. Too many tanks on the ground. That's it. The stasis catches the Arbiters, which is, I mean, the Goliaths, which is great. Yep, too many tanks. Jaehoon has left the game, and Light does come out on top in 29 minutes and 18 seconds. What an absolutely, man, absolutely ridiculously good PvT. Light is terrifying. I think that's the word that describes him right now. The number of tanks that died today, I feel like, is like 200. But no, it didn't matter. And maybe it all just comes down to he got a quick 3rd base up. Jaehoon didn't get his third base up until later. He was always behind, always trying to catch up, never had more than a 1 base advantage on the Terran, even later into the game. And if you're going to beat a Terran, you got to be up 2, 3, 4 bases if you can. I know that's really, really a tall task against somebody like Light, but man, he just kept maneuvering himself into positions where Jaehoon had to engage with sieged tanks over and over and over again. And sure, sometimes Jaehoon won those and killed some tanks, but the trades were not in the favor of the Protoss, and they're never going to be. Even if you have good stasises, I guess if you have godlike stasises, sure, it can be. But Jaehoon, tough task. Light comes out on top. End of the day, 251,000 points for Jaehoon, 266 for Light. Ended up outproducing. Yeah, man, if you get outproduced by 200 units as a Protoss and a Terran against a Terran, bad times. Killed's about even, but this is it. This is the number. Outproduced. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Bunch of buildings died on both sides. Again, the only bases that died today were just that third base dying twice for Jaehoon in the bottom side of the map. And then more minerals mined, more total spent for Jaehoon by about 4,000, but you need more than that. I know it's mean. Like, I know it's mean to say that, but you do. Amazing. What a great, great PVT for your Patreon page. Or your Patreon cast on the Patreon page today. That was absolutely incredible. All right, well, that's going to be it from me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching. You take care of yourself.